My subject for you is going to be enjoying grace. I tell you that ahead of time because sometimes I get into this and I forget what I'm talking about. But because I'm living between estrogen and death, you can forget that. Grace is mentioned in the Bible 170 times. In Psalm 103:9, it says, God does not deal with us according to what we deserve. Now, the man that I'm married to, he uses that word deserve a lot. I hate that word. They call me a man basher, but one of the chapters in my book said, if they can send one man to the moon, why can't they send them all? But he's low maintenance. He just wants popcorn and hot dogs. He's fine. So he's easy to cook for. And he makes the bed because he doesn't think God can do it right. And he puts gas in the car because he doesn't think I do it right. He does everything Navy style, and it's always proper, always right. He never makes mistakes. Gets lost once in a time. He won't ask for directions, but what man will? You know why Moses wandered 40 years in the wilderness? Because he wouldn't ask anybody for directions. And that's why they take a woman on the space projects to be sure she'll ask for directions. But because he's so perfect, he always wears a seatbelt. He always votes. He keeps his money neat. He's just disgustingly good, like that. He never gets tickets or does anything wrong. And so he uses that word deserve on me. I have to hear a lot about what I deserve. Sometime back, I was in La Habra, where we live. I'm in California. I forgot where I was. But in La Habra, the post office is right next to the police station. And so I'm there every day mailing tapes and stuff. So this day I was there, had my car all full of stuff. I was going to go spread my joy somewhere. And right in front of the police station, in front of the post office, there's this big sign that says, no U-turn. Well, that's a dumb place to have it, because that's right where I want to turn. And so I made this nice U-turn, and just as I was gotten around, I looked in the rearview mirror, and there's a cop there. He's coming after me, the thing's going around on the side. I went, oh, dear. And so I pulled over, and you know what we're supposed to do in California. So you won't get shot. You're supposed to pull over, put your window down, put your hands on the 10 and 2 position, which Marilyn and I have learned from driver's school or traffic school many times. Put your hands at 10 and 2. And then you just sit there till he comes up to the car. And so I had my hands on 10 and 2, had the window down. So he came up to the car. He didn't say a word. He just started taking off his gloves, one finger at a time. And I didn't say anything. So he finally got the gloves off. And then he said, didn't you see that no U-turn sign? Well, I saw, but I didn't think you really meant it. And he said, well, we really meant it, sister. And so he's writing out this check. This is so embarrassing to get a ticket with all the kids going by, and my license plate says Spatula Ministries. It sounds kind of spiritual. So he's writing out the ticket. So I took it, and then I put it in the glove compartment. Thanked him. Always want to thank him. So I put it in the glove compartment, and I drove off. Well, I'm never going to tell anybody. I'm never going to tell Bill, because he never gets tickets. I'm sure not going to tell my 2 sons. I'm not going to tell anybody. I'll just go to AAA, and somebody will help me. So I went a block down the road, and I looked in the rearview mirror, and I see he's coming after me. That thing is going around again. My goodness, I haven't even done anything yet. So I pulled the car over, did just what I did before. I pulled the car over, rolled the window down, put my hands on 10 and 2, and he came up to the car, and he's pulling off his gloves again, just like we did 5 minutes ago. And then he said, do you have the original ticket I gave you? Oh, I preached in a glove compartment, and I gave him the piece of paper I had. He said, do you have the original? Well, is this some new system they have? I mean, I got the ticket, I put it there, I showed him, he said that. And he looked around my car, and I couldn't have eaten it or anything in that short time. He said, well, all right, you can go. I thought, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. But anyway, I drove off, and I didn't know, maybe Sacramento's more mixed up than we thought they were, so... Anyway, about a week went by, and I thought, it's time I start thinking about the ticket. I better think about AAA or somebody to help me. And so in the mail that day came a letter to Mr. William H. Johnson from the La Habra Police Department. Well, that put him in a snit right there. And the letter said, it has his number, his driver's license at the top, all his identification. Dear Mr. Johnson, you can disregard the ticket that you got last week for the illegal U-turn because the original was lost. What? He just about had a stroke right then. I wasn't about to relieve his guilt. Just let him suffer a little while. So finally I could see he was about to have a stroke, so I said, it wasn't your ticket, it was my ticket. I showed him my picture, my license. I don't know how they could I don't know how this happens, but things must be awfully mixed up. And right away he said those dreaded words, well, you do a lot, you deserve it, you do that a lot. I don't do it a lot, but I've done it. And he made me feel so guilty, so I went over to See's Candy and I bought a big box of See's Candy. Not for him, but for the police station. So I went over and I just said, have a happy day or something. I didn't give my name because they might find the ticket. And so that word deserve is such a painful word. I don't like to hear it, and I hear it an awful lot. I'm trying to get used to it, but it's a hard word for me because, if we all got what we deserve, we all deserve to go right down there, but it's only by God's grace that we don't.